Without even realizing it, you are making one tiny mistake that could destroy your engine. And it happens the moment you park? I'm talking about shutting off your car right after a hard drive, leaving red-hot engine parts to cook themselves from the inside. I've seen engines ruined by this simple habit, and it's just one of 7 silent killers you need to know about. Today, I'm breaking down 7 shocking engine mistakes you're probably making. And the best part, most cost nothing to fix, but could save you thousands in repairs. Your car deserves better, and so does your wallet. Hit that like, tap subscribe, and let's dive in. Which of these mistakes have you been guilty of? And what's your worst engine horror story? Drop it in the comments. Let's see who's brave enough to admit it. Let's kick things off with a mistake that silently destroys engines. And it's one I see far too often. Imagine this. You've just wrapped up a long highway drive, or maybe let your car stretch its legs on a fun back road. You pull into the driveway, park, and without a second thought, you shut off the engine. Seems innocent, right? Wrong. What most drivers don't realize is that shutting down your engine immediately after hard driving can do serious long-term damage. Here's why. After high-speed or high-load driving, your engine, and especially your turbocharger if you have one, is blazing hot. We're talking over 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit in some cases. The oil flowing through your engine is doing double duty, lubricating parts and cooling down critical components. When you hit that ignition switch and cut power, you're also cutting off oil circulation. That red-hot turbo or engine part is suddenly left with no cooling, no lubrication. What happens next? The remaining oil stuck inside starts to burn onto surfaces. A nasty process called oil coking. This creates hard deposits that restrict oil flow, overheat bearings, and eventually wreck your turbo or engine internals. The good news? It's super easy to avoid this expensive mistake. The next time you finish a hard drive, let your engine idle for 30 seconds to a minute before shutting it down. That gives your oil time to circulate, cool things down, and protect your components. Stick with me because this is just one of 7 critical mistakes drivers make that could be quietly draining life from their engines. And your wallet. You won't want to miss the others. Let's dive in. Now let's talk about mistake 6, one that's way more common than people admit, running your tank on empty. Be honest, how many times have you seen that fuel light come on and thought, hey, I've got a few more miles, I'll fill up later? I see it all the time. But what seems like a harmless habit is actually wrecking your fuel system in ways you probably never considered. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Your fuel pump isn't just there to send gas to the engine. It's designed to be submerged in fuel, using that gasoline as a coolant. When you're running on fumes, that pump is left exposed, running hotter than it should. Over time, that heat takes a serious toll, wearing out the pump and setting you up for an expensive failure. And that's not the only issue. When your tank's nearly empty, you're pulling fuel from the very bottom, where sediment, dirt, and debris naturally collect over time. That gunk can clog up your fuel filter and injectors, leading to rough idling, poor performance, and costly repairs down the line. The fix? Simple. Make it a rule to always keep at least a quarter tank of fuel in your car. It's a small habit that helps your fuel pump stay cool, protects your injectors, and keeps your engine running smoothly. Trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Stick around because there are 5 more engine-killing mistakes I'm about to break down. And knowing these could save you thousands in repairs. Ready? Let's keep going. Alright, let's get into mistake 5. And this one's a silent killer that so many drivers are guilty of. Hard acceleration on a cold engine. Picture this. You're late for work, you jump in the car, fire it up, and the first thing you do, you mash the gas pulling out of the driveway. Sounds familiar? I hate to break it to you. That's one of the fastest ways to wear out your engine before it's time. Here's why. When your engine's cold, the oil inside it is thick, like molasses. It hasn't had a chance to warm up and flow properly to all the critical parts like your piston rings, bearings, and turbo, if you have one. That oil's job is to create a protective film that prevents metal-on-metal contact, but if you're hammering the throttle before that oil's doing its job, you're basically inviting premature wear, scoring on cylinder walls, and unnecessary stress on internal components. And if you think modern oils and engines are immune to this, think again. Even today's high-tech engines need a little time to reach proper operating temperature, usually just a few minutes of gentle driving. The solution's easy, just give your engine a chance to warm up, let it idle briefly, and then drive gently until your temperature gauge hits normal. Only then is it safe to put your foot down. Stick with me, because up next are 4 more habits that could be quietly destroying your engine every time you drive. And trust me, these tips could save you a fortune on repairs. Let's keep going. Now mistake 4 goes out to all my manual transmission drivers, and I see this one way too often: riding the clutch or resting your hand on the shifter. Let's be honest, we've all done it at some point. You're cruising along, foot kind of hovering or lightly pressing on the clutch pedal, or your hand just chilling on the gear lever like it's an armrest. It feels harmless, right? But here's the truth: this innocent habit can quietly destroy your transmission over time. When you rest your foot on the clutch, even just a little pressure can partially engage the clutch release bearing, and that bearing isn't designed to be under load for extended periods. The result? Premature wear on the bearing, the pressure plate, and even the clutch disc. And replacing those? Let's just say it's not cheap. Same goes for resting your hand on the shifter. It puts unnecessary side pressure on the shift forks inside the transmission. Over time, that can lead to misalignment, accelerated wear, and sloppy gear changes. Not to mention expensive repairs you definitely don't want. Here's the fix: keep your left foot off the clutch unless you're actively shifting. And once you're in gear, both hands on the wheel, that's where they belong for control and to keep your transmission healthy. Stick with me, because coming up are 3 more mistakes that could be quietly draining your wallet and cutting your car's life short. Trust me, you don't want to miss these. Alright, let's talk about mistake 3, one of the most expensive mistakes I see car owners make: skipping or delaying oil changes. I get it, life gets busy. Maybe you figure, hey, I'll do it next month. But here's what's really happening inside your engine. Every mile you drive with dirty, old oil means your engine's internal components are being bathed in a cocktail of metal particles, carbon deposits, and sludge. That clean lubricant your engine desperately needs? It's now contaminated gunk. The result? Worn out bearings, scored cylinder walls, clogged oil passages, and before you know it, you're looking at an engine that's lost compression or a bottom end that's knocking. And trust me, major engine repairs or replacements cost way more than a few timely oil changes. So what's the smart move? Make oil changes a non-negotiable part of your car's care. I recommend changing your oil every 3,500 to 5,000 miles, especially if you have a turbocharged or high-performance engine. And don't stop there. Check your oil level at least once a month. That quick dipstick check could save you thousands in repair bills down the line. Think of it this way: your oil is the lifeblood of your engine. Neglect it, and you're slowly starving your car of what it needs to survive. Stick around. Up next, I'm covering 2 more mistakes that most drivers don't even realize they're making. Mistakes that could quietly destroy your engine and drain your wallet. You won't want to miss this. Let's dive into mistake 2. And trust me, this one's a silent killer: using cheap or the wrong oil. Picture this: your engine is a precision machine with thousands of parts moving at incredible speeds and temperatures. Now imagine pumping that machine full of bargain bin oil that's thin as water under heat or filled with impurities. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? Because it is. Your oil isn't just there to lubricate. It cools, cleans, and protects critical components from friction and wear. Use the wrong oil, maybe the wrong viscosity or some generic blend not rated for your engine, and you're asking for trouble. Over time, you'll get increased wear on bearings, camshafts, turbochargers, and more. And if you've got a turbo or a performance engine, forget it. That cheap oil can't handle the heat or stress. Here's what I tell every customer: always use the oil grade and type recommended in your owner's manual. That isn't just some guideline. It's what your engine was designed to run on. And if you drive a turbocharged, high-performance, or modern direct injection engine, go synthetic. Full stop. It handles heat better, resists breakdown longer, and gives your engine the protection it needs. The bottom line: saving a few bucks at your oil change could cost you thousands down the line in repairs. And stick around. The next mistake is one I see far too often, and it quietly destroys engines without warning. Don't miss it. Alright, let's wrap this up with mistake 1. One of the most common and quietly destructive habits I see: skipping warm-ups. You're in a rush, coffee in one hand, keys in the other. You start the car, throw it in gear, and off you go. Sounds familiar, right? But here's what's happening inside your engine while you're speeding off. Your oil, thick and cold, hasn't had a chance to circulate properly yet. That means critical components like your bearings, piston rings, camshafts, they're all rubbing together without full protection. And in cold weather, it's even worse. That oil can be as thick as molasses at startups. What does this mean for your engine? Premature wear, scored cylinder walls, damaged bearings, and over time, a shorter engine life and expensive repairs that could have easily been avoided. So what's the smart move? It's simple. Let your engine idle for 30 seconds to a minute before driving off. And if it's freezing out, give it a bit longer. Your engine and wallet will thank you. This small habit gives your oil time to reach vital areas and form that protective film your parts need. I see this mistake all the time in my shops, and trust me, the damage it causes is real. Don't let impatience cost you thousands. Stick around. In just a moment, I'll share my top tips to make sure you don't fall into these traps and how to give your engine the longest, healthiest life possible. There you have it. 7 engine-killing mistakes that are totally avoidable. How many were you guilty of? Let me know in the comments. Like this video if you learned something. Subscribe so you don't miss my next guide to keeping your car happy and healthy. Remember, small changes in how you treat your engine can save you thousands down the road.